What's up guys, today we're looking at the unwritten rules of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, rules you need to follow, or do you? Some rules in Jiu-Jitsu are outdated, circumstantial, or even dumb. Meanwhile, there's some rules you absolutely need to follow without exception. I give you my opinion not only as a black belt, but as a gym owner for the last 7 years, so believe me when I say that I've seen it all. But quickly, before we get started, I just want to let you guys know that I've rebranded my podcast from Jordan Talks Jiu-Jitsu to Talk Jitsu, so check it out if you want to get in on the Jiu-Jitsu conversation. So let's get started with rule number 1, don't use strength. This one is dumb. Of course you need to use strength. Strength is an attribute that should aid your technique, but not be used in place of your technique. Try doing jiu-jitsu without strength and you're not going to get very far. Jiu-jitsu is not magic, and generally the more strength you have available, the easier it is to perform techniques. Again, what you want to avoid is using strength in place of techniques. Your goal in grappling should be use the minimal amount of strength and effort required to get the job done. The minimal effective dose, especially against smaller and weaker training partners. I roll with smaller training partners all the time, and instead of looking to smash them with pressure, I have a technical battle with them. This is more beneficial and fun for both of us, meaning I'm trying to out-angle and out-technique my opponent rather than completely limiting their mobility using my attributes like size and strength. Of course, it's easier to do this when you're a black belt and have a range of technical knowledge to pull from, but this should still be the goal for everyone. But at the same time, I do enjoy when larger but lesser skilled opponents than me use their strength and make it a good fight for me. But I'm a black belt and not small myself, and I can handle it. Be loyal to your gym. This is an old school mentality that I'm glad is dying more and more every year with the modernization and rising popularity of Jiu-Jitsu. The old school way of thinking is that if you leave your gym, you're a traitor, also known as a creonch. I've been called a creonch and a traitor for leaving 2 gyms in the past, but neither gym was providing me with what was best for me, nor did it make sense for me to keep training at those gyms. I did what was best for me, and in hindsight, I made the absolute right call both times. Yet I still had to deal with former training partners deleting me off social media and being extremely unfriendly with me. When it comes to my gym, my mentality about it is that if someone quits and joins another gym, then either my product isn't perfect for them or isn't perfect in general. If it's not perfect for them, that's fine. Different gyms have their strengths and weaknesses as well as who they cater to. And if it's not perfect in general, then I need to assess what I can do better to make my product better. Students should be at the gym because they want to be there, not because they have an obligation to be there or because they're made to feel guilty. If you're a gym owner and you don't make them want to be there, then you also shouldn't blame them for leaving. Never ask a higher belt for a role. This rule is such a gatekeeping mentality and lame power dynamic and has no place in jiu-jitsu whatsoever. And that's because belt rank doesn't put someone above anyone else. A higher belt is just further along in their jiu-jitsu journey than the lower belt, and that's all there is to it. I'll roll with anyone who asks, but if I do have a specific goal for that particular training session, I also have no problem kindly telling them no. Like if I'm preparing for a tournament or looking to get only hard rolls in that day and looking to roll with higher belts, I'll simply let the lower belt know that that's the case and it's no big deal. You don't have to say yes to every roll, but at the same time, there's absolutely zero problem with being asked to roll. And just because you're a higher or lower belt than someone doesn't mean you're entitled to any special treatment. We all deserve the same respect on the mats. I'd quickly decide to say thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Athletic Greens. AG1 by Athletic Greens is a nutritional drink that has me really excited about simplifying my health routine. It has 75 different ingredients, including vitamins, minerals, superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. AG1 is more than just a greens powder. It's your daily multivitamin and multi-mineral, pre and probiotic, immunity support, and more. And yes, it provides your daily greens blend too. Your body needs so much more than just greens. Greens provide critical phytonutrients, but these nutrients don't empower gut health. By delivering the phytonutrient blend along with the multivitamin, probiotics, adaptogens, and more, AG1 creates an environment where the gut can thrive and your body can thrive too. I've got 3 young kids, and 2 of them especially are always so full of boogers in the winter, so the fact that AG1 contains vitamin C, zinc, and healing mushrooms gives me confidence in my immune system heading into the Canadian winter. AG1 has become an effortless daily habit for me. 1 scoop or travel packet of AG1, 8 ounces of water every day, that's it. Go to athleticgreens.com/JordanTeachJujitsu to get started on your order. Athletic Greens is going to give my community a free 1-year supply of immune support, vitamin D3 and K2, and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. It tastes pretty good too. Alright, let's continue. You must say yes to a higher belt or a black belt. You can say no to absolutely anyone you don't want to roll with, either that session or ever. You are in control of who you roll with. Not all higher belts are great training partners, and some may hurt you or make you feel uncomfortable. There's weirdos and pricks out there, and a black belt does not make someone a good person. There's no place in jiu-jitsu for any sort of weird power dynamic. Don't stink. This is so important. Shower 1 or 2 hours before class, wear deodorant, and brush your teeth. This is what I do every single time without fail. If you're unable to shower before class, class, at least wipe your areas with a baby wipe and change your underwear. Trust me, I've smelled some smells over my decade of jiu-jitsu, and I guarantee none of them shower before class. They likely didn't even change their underwear, and they just worked all day, went to the bathroom multiple times, and showed up to class ready to put some poor soul in north-south. Additionally, on the subject of hygiene, make sure you always have a clean uniform. Never wear something twice in a row without washing it, or you'll stink. Keep your nails trimmed. I've been sliced up a few times from long toenails and nails, so not only do you want to keep them short, but you also need to file them to keep them from being sharp. For example, I once lost a big chunk of my forehead skin from someone who had just cut their nails but hadn't filed them. I'm sure you'd rather not do this to someone, so make sure you keep your nails and toenails nice. Maybe treat yourself to a mani or pedi. I actually had a pedicure once and it was kind of nice. Don't talk about getting promoted. I've heard of some instructors adding multiple years to a promotion date because they heard a student talk about getting promoted or because a student approached them directly about it. This is a little excessive. Of course you shouldn't ask for or demand or expect a promotion, but it also shouldn't be a problem to ask your instructor what you need to do to reach the next level. It's all about how you go about it. If a student went about it poorly, I would just talk to them rather than punish them. You should seek knowledge and skill, not the next belt. But at the same time, I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to reach the next level and be recognized for your hard work and dedication. Every belt I was excited for, and I don't need to pretend that I wasn't. However, keep in mind that you shouldn't actually ask for the next belt. Instead, if you're concerned about a promotion, ask your coach what they want to see from you, what you need to focus on, so you have a clear and obtainable goal for improvement. Don't tap and tell. This is Jiu-Jitsu Etiquette 101. You absolutely need to follow this rule. It's not cool to brag about beating or tapping training partners. It's training, not competition. So when you tap someone out, just keep rolling and keep your excitement to yourself. Don't brag and talk about it to others. It's not cool. Don't knee wrestle. Knee wrestling is so pointless. When will you ever be doing that in a real jiu-jitsu match? Never. Don't do it, and that's not to say you have to start standing, but one person can simply sit on their butt to play guard while the others start on their knees or feet to pass. This approach is way more productive than knee wrestling because you'll actually use these skills. If there's a size difference, the bigger grappler should always start on the bottom to help negate their advantage. Again, if you want to start from standing, go for it, and if you want to start the roll already on the ground, go for it too. But don't wrestle from the knees. This is absolutely pointless and will never be useful. Match intensity. Read the room. Some people want to roll hard and some don't. You don't need to just murk some poor hobbyist trying to have a good time because they're a higher belt than you and you want to prove something to yourself. I used to roll way too hard as a white belt and I would just try to destroy everyone. Now that I'm older and wiser, I realize how dumb and unnecessary that was. It's kind of embarrassing, really. I didn't do a great job of reading the room and adjusting my rolling intensity to who I was rolling with. Learn from my mistakes and don't be that guy who rolls hard with everyone. Pace yourself and adjust yourself to your training partners, and trust me, they'll enjoy training with you so much more. Take care of your training partners. You need training partners to train with. They are absolutely essential to training jiu-jitsu. You need to keep them safe and they need to keep you safe. Of course, you want to keep yourself safe as well, but in reality, there's a ton of moves in grappling that can hurt your training partners, and you need to take precaution when doing them. Some obvious ones are not to slam your training partners or do scissor takedowns or overstack in a triangle, but there are many techniques and positions that can result in catastrophic injury. I go over 20 of these in the mat safety portion of my performance longevity course. Move for higher belts when rolling too close. When you get too close to another pair while rolling, someone needs to move or you all potentially risk getting hurt. It makes sense for a lower belt to yield to the higher belts only because there needs to be someone designated to move. However, this should be a guideline and not a rule. That is, if two lower belts are rolling hard beside me and not moving, then I'll move. It's no problem. They're having a good roll and I'll let them have at it. If I just wait there with entitled superiority complex, I risk getting hurt myself. And if I'm already interrupted anyways, then it's not a big deal for me just to move for them. Of course, I appreciate if they do move over for me, but either way, it isn't a big deal. There's way more important things to worry about in jiu-jitsu and in life. Don't grab fingers. Nobody likes getting their fingers grabbed, and mine aren't in the best shape anymore, and grabbing fingers will 100% make your training partners angry, so just don't do it. Wear shoes off the mat, especially in the bathroom. Different gyms have different setups for how to address this. My favorite in the way that I run my gym is that you have to wear shoes or sandals up to the mats, and then you can take them off to get on the mats. Some you take your shoes off at the door, and that's fine as long as the floor remains clean. What you absolutely shouldn't do is go barefoot in the bathroom. There's zero chance of not stepping on some pee particles at the very least when going barefoot. It's gross and should be avoided at all costs. Face the wall to tie your belt or pants. I personally don't think it's a big deal if someone sees my belly, and if I see someone else's belly, I don't care either. This is a combat sport where you get in a lot of weird positions and it's just no big deal. So I don't normally turn away to tie my belt. However, I will turn away to tie my gi pants as nobody wants to see that, and I feel it's the respectful thing to do. If you disagree with me and you think it's essential to turn away even to tie your belt, that's fine, we can agree to disagree. Never practice a different move in training other than the one that your coach has shown. I don't mind if my students explore different paths, as long as they have the original technique down perfect and have repped it sufficiently. Some instructors will get very mad and feel insulted if their students get off track, but this isn't the way. You gotta let them explore. Don't be late. I don't care if you're late. I'd rather you be there than not at all. We all have lives and responsibilities that can get in the way, and it's tough for many of us to even squeeze in jiu-jitsu into our schedules. The only thing that I don't love is when people simply leave the house a little bit too late due to time management. I'd rather you be there 20 minutes late than 2 minutes late, because 2 minutes, I know you're just unorganized, but it's not a big deal. I'm unorganized too and late for pretty much everything. You don't need to do push-ups or ask permission to enter the mats on my gym if you're late. I'm just happy you're there. Don't talk while your instructor is showing a technique. Just don't do this. It's disrespectful to both your coach and the students trying to learn. I hate when people talk while I'm teaching, and I would never talk while another coach is teaching. It's common sense, but it needs to be said. Don't tap too early to a submission. This one is a bit situational. You should absolutely tap early and tap often and whenever you need to feel safe. Do not think otherwise. Tap as much or whenever you need to. However, sometimes people do tap excessively early. If the submission isn't even close to being locked in and the other person kind of just gives up and taps, it can just be slightly frustrating because you still want a chance to work in the sub. So try not to tap too early if you're just giving up. However, tap as early as needed to feel safe. Respect the tap. We put our safety and literally our lives in the hands of others while training. The tap is sacred and must be respected at all times. A tap means stop or let go, and it's not optional. You must respect the tap. Even if you don't know why the person is tapping, let go of the submission immediately. You can ask them later why they tap, but for now, just let go. Don't talk people through submissions to avoid a submission. It's normally higher belts that do this to lower belts, but sometimes it's lower belts that do it too. Either way, it's a lame way to rob someone of a real submission. What I mean is when someone's caught in a submission, they coach their training partner through the submission, making it seem like they didn't actually earn the submission, but rather they help them get it. I've had it happen to me before, and it's mind-boggling that someone would do that. Just don't be that guy. If your training partner is a submission fully locked in, then just tap. And if they're a lower belt than you, then so what? You ought to feel happy for them and the progress that they're making, so congratulate them and continue rolling. Show the visitor who's boss. Got a visitor at your school? You must defend your gym's honor and show them what's up. Destroy them. Just kidding, you do not need to do this. Many people visiting are hoping that this doesn't happen. Likely they just want to come in and get some good rolls, not fight to the death to see whose gym is better. However, I still think you should try to put on a good performance. You should try to be extra sure you're being technical and being a good training partner. You should try to use the least amount of effort to get the maximum amount of results. This is how I like to beat people up, by flowing and out-techniquing them, so it seems like I'm not even trying. This should be your goal if you want to beat someone up. Not to use all your strength and go balls to the wall to prove a point. Use the gym enforcer to smarten the dummies up. Is there someone at your gym that's rolling too hard or is being annoying and needs to be humbled? Should you send the gym enforcer on them, someone to crush their ego? In most cases, I would say no. Communication is a much more effective way of dealing with such issues. All you have to do is talk to them and let them know in a friendly way that they're being a crappy training partner. You could also talk to your coach too, and they can do the same. As a coach myself, I've always found this to be a much more effective way of dealing with such issues. Beating someone up often does more harm than good. And if they're that crappy of a training partner, I don't want them training in my gym in the first place. Alright, so what do you think of these rules? Do you agree or do you disagree? All opinions are welcome, just be kind when discussing them, and make sure to get my free mat safety guide for Jiu-Jitsu ebook. Link is in the description. Alright, thanks for sticking around until the end of the video. If you're still here, please leave a comment or a fist bump, and I'll see you guys next time.